Okay. I got one hand for my drink and one hand for my mic. What is this called again?
Hot chocolate.
It's just straight hot chocolate.
Just straight hot chocolate.
It's fancy because we make it though.
Yeah. It's so like rich. I really like this a lot. I'm a big
Glad you
fan.
like it, yeah.
And I'm drinking a chocolate peanut butter latte or just coffee.
Yeah.
Chocolate peanut butter.
Chocolate peanut butter flat white. Let's call it that.
Nice. It's very good.
The different kind of like
Okay.
drink, I guess.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll go into that.
Yeah. There's a whole world.
Don't
He's
get
gonna
me started.
educate you. Yeah.
So hi everyone. Thank
Hi.
you for having us.
Of course.
Yeah.
You guys might recognize Lane here. She
Hi.
was on the podcast a few weeks ago. We had an awesome episode. So we're back again. So if you guys want to introduce yourselves.
This guy. You can
Yeah, this
introduce
time
yourself.
with Zack, her husband. Owner of Tohubohu Coffee. It is pronounced Tohubohu. One word. Everyone messes that up, but it's funny because it actually means chaos, which is even funnier because it's just how it happened. But
Our life is chaotic.
yeah, our life is chaotic, but it's also, you know, we all have chaos in our day, and I think the best way to embrace it is with a cup of coffee. So it's
Love that.
yeah.
I forget what language or what's the origin of the word.
It was Hebrew, and I just
Okay.
I get word of the days because I suck
Okay.
at spelling, and I wanted a better vocabulary. And then I told him it, and when we were trying to figure out the coffee stuff, we just would look at the words of the day. I'm like, what about Tohubohu? And then he really liked what it meant, obviously, and then it just kind of went from there.
We recently had a guest on who owns an ice cream shop.
Yeah.
And the store or the shop was named Humdu.
Yeah.
And it's a made up word, completely made up. And I
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
yours is not made up, it's an actual word. But ever since you told me like of the name, it's always stuck in my head. And that's what she said. She was like, it's important to name your business like not something necessarily made up, but like a unique enough name where people it will
Right.
stick in their mind. So I love that. I think
Yes.
it's a really cool name, and your branding is awesome. By the
you.
way,
Oh,
I
nice.
love it. Yeah, your
Trying.
graphics are cool. Yeah. So yeah, I guess tell us about like why you got into coffee. Like, did it start as a hobby, or was it just
Yeah,
something like
I
you
mean-
always had interest in?
Yeah, it's something I've always enjoyed as a like even growing up, just a cup of coffee was always nice when I was allowed to have it. You know, it's funny. Like
When was
parents,
that?
parents always like, no, kids can't have coffee.
Yeah.
Right because it's going to stunt your growth. But it's funny. I was actually reading an article on it the other day, and it was saying like it's only bad if it stops the kid from sleeping. 'Cause that's what stunts the growth. It's not the
Okay.
actual coffee itself.
Caffeine.
If they can't sleep at night, then okay, don't give your kid coffee. But if they can sleep fine, then if they enjoy it, why not?
This is like a real scientific study because I was like, you're lying to me. Like, I don't believe you. Everyone's always told that like their whole lives. And it's like,
Yeah.
no, look. And it's just,
I feel like that checks
cool.
out though.
yeah.
Yeah.
Is there like a rule of thumb for like, oh, I can get my kid coffee before like this time of day, or after that it'll like affect their sleep, or
some people
Yeah,
can't
even with
sleep.
adults, yeah.
Yeah.
It's really based on your body and like
Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
can sleep at night or not. Like I could literally have a cup of coffee at 8 o'clock
Yeah.
at night and go to bed at
That's
10.
crazy.
my
I
dad
could
does
not do
that.
that.
I don't understand it at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just enjoy it. Like I just enjoy the flavor of it. It's just almost like, you know, calming. It's like a nice calming drink.
And even like we did our soft launch party, and a lot of, you know, it's like really just family and friends. You're just testing everything out. And even like we had like drinks, and they had his espresso in it. And some people came up to us the next day and they were like, we did not sleep at all. Where some people were like, oh, it was fine. It was great. Like I
Yeah.
got a great night of sleep. And just like, it just depends on who you are, because some people were wired. They were
Of
like, we didn't
course,
fall
yeah.
asleep till 5 a.m. I was
Yeah.
like, well, you were drinking coffee at night. You should know yourself by then.
Wait, did you do like espresso martinis?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No
Yeah, so we did
way.
the
That
whole
is
thing.
so
We
fun.
had his drinks. We did it like throughout the day. So I think we started at like 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And then as it hit like 5 or 6, our friend's a bartender, and he came and like was using our actual espresso. So we did like Nutty Irishman. He did an espresso martini, but it was all using like his actual.
Whoa.
That's
Yeah, it's
Yeah, it was
sick.
really fun.
Yeah.
It was. We had a good time.
That was like the busiest I've ever been. I was making drinks from 2 o'clock till like 10 o'clock at night. There was just a
gosh.
line of cups all day. I was like, this is like I'm really getting thrown into this.
Yeah, it's like, you know, you invite your friends and your family, and you don't think like that many people will show up. So I kind of did that, and then within the first hour, it was like 100 people RSVP'd. I was like, I think I messed up.
Oh my god.
It was fun though.
It was a lot of fun. It was fun. It was a good test.
Yeah,
for
it was
him.
cool.
That's great.
But going back to, I mean, how we got started is, I mean, I've always enjoyed it, but our favorite thing to do was go on vacation. So like we would go and visit all these cool places, and it was always like a goal to find the best cafe.
Nice.
It was like, let's just go find, like, whenever we go somewhere, let's find the best cafe so we have a place to like chill in the morning, get a nice cup of coffee.
People watch.
And it was just fun. Yeah, people watch. It was just really cool to do.
Yeah.
You know, as husband and wife, we just had fun with it. And then like that just kept growing and growing and growing to the point where COVID hit. I was like, okay, well, I need to do this at home. So it was our anniversary, and my parents got me like this small little, I can't even remember the machine.
Breville. It was just it
It wasn't even a Breville.
Right?
No.
No. Oh.
The next one
The
we got
next
was a
one,
Breville.
yeah.
I can't remember the machine, but it was like $100. It was pretty. I love you, parents, but it was. It broke in 2 weeks. It literally, like it just stopped working in 2 weeks. So I told my mom, I was like, look, I'm sorry I'm returning it, but I'm getting the better one. I'll put in the rest of the money. So we ended up getting the Breville Barista Express.
Okay.
And it was a great machine. Like, loved it, and made really good espresso, made really good like lattes and flat whites. And
That's what I have now, and it's great.
Yeah,
it's
great
nice
machine.
for like if you want something a little bit more than like a Keurig or like a coffee machine or something. Like it allows you to do kind of everything.
yeah, that kind of like that machine kind of like put me into like the home espresso game.
I was better at frothing milk.
Yeah,
than
she
him.
was.
And he wanted to get better than me, and now I can't even use this thing.
That was like a big goal of like, okay, how are you doing better designs than me?
Yeah.
This is not fair.
No, I can't.
This
do
is
it
my
at all.
thing, all right?
So it was like a competition, and then he just like went insane.
And then I was like making like 4 cups a day, trying to figure out how to froth milk. And then the next anniversary, I was like, well, I'm gonna buy a better machine for myself.
yeah, for himself. I was like, whatever. Just
So I went from that to the Lelite Bianca, which you guys see today. So that's the Lelite Bianca.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a sick machine.
It
That's
looks
insane.
awesome. Yeah.
It's a
That's
unit.
gorgeous. How did you like do your research? Like, were you just like YouTubing?
A lot of
like,
YouTube,
reviews?
a lot of
Okay.
YouTube. Lance Hendrick was he's a big YouTuber. He does like reviews on all these machines.
He's awesome.
Okay.
He has
Yeah.
a great voice. I just
Yeah,
like
he's
watching
funny.
him.
He's funny too.
Yeah.
So it's he has a bunch of videos on how to froth milk too and stuff. Like
Oh,
that.
sweet.
So it's, yeah.
No,
I mean,
good.
it's like kind of the game of getting into it. There's so many things on YouTube now. Like you can find anything.
Yeah.
But that's kind of how we got into coffee, and then it just kind of kept growing from there. Of like the passion for it. I've always wanted my own business, but I've never known what.
Yeah.
And I'm the type of person where I start something, and in 3 months I'll probably quit
Yeah.
if I don't like it.
Always.
Like I'm like, this is awesome. Then I get like gun ho for 3
Yeah.
months, and then coffee's the only thing I stuck with. So she was like, "You really love coffee. Why don't you just do that?" So
Yeah.
that's kind of how it started.
Yeah, because we worked with dogs for a little bit, and you have to love dog training. I was like, we can't do this. This is not it for us, and he just didn't love it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
it's so hard to be in the dog world, like. And I work with the reactive dogs. I work with you're dealing with people's
Yeah.
emotions, and he's really good at it. He's like
I love training my dog.
yeah.
Yeah.
And he's great at training other people's dogs. It's just it's so much more work going into it. And I was
Of
like, this
course.
is not your thing. And then
Yeah.
when I was just like, yeah, we probably shouldn't do this together, he was like, well, I still want to do my own thing. What should I do? And then, like you said, the coffee, I was like, you just have loved coffee for so many years. Like he was roasting it. Him and his mom would do it together. It was cute. They would go and they would roast the coffee, not in like his professional roaster. They would just do it on the stove together.
Wow.
We just did a
Yeah, so he
stovetop
was
and a
already
pan.
doing that
Yeah.
anyway, and he just like always loved it, and he kept diving into it on his own before
Yeah.
it was like really such a passion for him.
I feel like that's always such a good thing. Like when people
Yeah.
ask, like, "Oh, what business should I start?" Just like look at the things that like you love doing,
Yeah.
like in
Yeah.
your free time, because it's gonna come so easy, so naturally. Like
Yeah.
you're gonna want to come back to it, all the time. And business is tough. Both of you guys know, like it's really hard. So you really, really have to like what you're doing, because if you don't, like, you're just gonna, like you said, just give up and
That's it.
not continue with it.
Yeah, a lot of
But-
business is the back end stuff, right? That people don't like to do. But if
Yeah.
you enjoy what you actually do, you're willing to do it. So it's
Totally.
yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah. So how did you like, I guess in my mind, if I'm thinking about like, oh, I'm going to start a coffee shop or like a coffee business, like I'm thinking like, oh, like where should I have my store? And like, what's my like store going to look like and design and that kind of stuff. Like you guys kind of took like we're going to, make sure that the product's really good and then kind of move forward from there. So like, how'd you get into like roasting and all of that?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't want the like headache of a coffee shop yet, because it's a big headache, and I've watched plenty of videos on it, and there's a lot of overhead. And I was like, I don't really want that. I mean, there is still a lot of overhead, even with what I have, but it's nowhere near a coffee shop. So it's like
one of those giant machines that you see in like, you know, bigger shops cost like $50,000.
That's crazy.
Yeah, like 20 grand for just the coffee machine.
That's an insane investment.
Like my grinder alone was almost $4,000. So it's like, it's expensive, and it's it is needed to make like really good coffee. Obviously, you can get by and make good coffee on like smaller stuff.
Okay,
but like if you're gonna do high like volume like at a coffee shop, you need the better machine because it's gonna last longer.
Yeah,
of course,
and it's gonna pump out more coffee. So there's a lot of overhead in it. So I don't know. It's like when I started, I've always wanted to roast because I like that. I like that aspect of it. It's like cooking and being a chef. So I've kind of like went into that first of like, okay, I'm gonna roast because I did this with my mom and it's fun. Let me dive into that a little bit. And then I went and like just bought a roaster because I wanted to do it anyways. I was like, oh, I'm going to use this on my free time anyway, so I might as well just try it. So I did a lot of research into that. I ended up getting like the Alilio Bullet, which is like a small 2-pound roaster.
It looks like the bullet in like Super Mario.
Yeah,
it's really
cute.
exactly.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah. So I ended up getting that, roasting on it. Just researching beans where I can get some good specialty beans. Found this guy up in Wall, New Jersey.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
And he was really nice. Gave him a call and like we were talking. He like imports beans and from like small local farmers in like Guatemala, Ethiopia. So I ended up getting some Guatemalan beans, which you're drinking. And yeah, I mean that's kind of like how it started. And so I don't know to answer your question, I just didn't want the overhead of like this massive coffee shop. I think
even then he doesn't want this like crazy big shop.
And it's about the coffee for me. Yeah. It's like it's always been like finding. I still remember the best coffee I've had. It was in Scotland at this small little coffee shop that our friend told us about because he's really big into coffee too. And he was like, "You got to go to this place called Lowdown." And we walked in there, and it was the best coffee.
Yeah, it's literally underground.
Yeah,
it
was like underground in Edinburgh.
Yeah,
and it was like the best coffee I've ever had. I was like, this is amazing. It was like a small little coffee shop.
Whoa.
I was like, that's what I would want.
Yeah,
like something
so
really
chill,
small.
like two machines like this.
Yeah, I could roast my coffee in the back and like be open twice a week maybe, and just like actually showcase the coffee. You know.
Really cool. What kind of sets you apart from other, coffee businesses out there? But also, like, if you want to speak to, you traveled a lot, like you said, and you tried so much other coffee. Like, maybe if you gained some inspirations from different coffee shops as you went along.
Yeah, I mean, what sets me apart? Probably just, how much I want to just serve a good cup of coffee, right? I think a lot of places get into that mindset of they want to serve a good cup of coffee, but then it's like, okay, let's add all these different products to it. And it's like, let's add a bunch of sugar. Let's add all these syrups and flavoring because Starbucks does it. Yeah. And it's like, I never wanted to do that. I've always wanted to be like, okay, I'm just about the good, like a good cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Obviously, like the name of Chaos like goes into like a whole different complex, which I think I'm now getting into, which is like almost being like a chemist in certain ways of like creating new recipes and stuff. I think that's pretty fun. But it's still about the coffee. Like, how can I like showcase the coffee even in like a cup like that with like chocolate peanut butter, but it's still about the espresso in it or something like that. So
and just
like,
giving good quality. Like I'm very much about the quality. I was telling you, like we don't want to have all these added sugars, added X, Y, and Z. Like even for your hot chocolate, it is pure chocolate with like the tiniest bit of sugar in it. So it's just you're getting all the flavor, you're getting that experience, and it just hits you. And like he lives for the reaction of like, what are you thinking? Because you can't fake a reaction, no matter how hard you try. When something like the first bite, the first sip you take of anything, you're going to show it on your face, whether it's good or bad. And so for him, like, even at the cart, he's like, please tell me. Like, I want to know what you think. And you can just tell by someone's face. They're like it's just either really good or it's not going to be. And so far, it's been good.
And if it's bad, I want to know. I want to make it better.
So you keep mentioning like you just want to make a good cup of coffee.
Yeah.
I want you to break down from roasting the beans to final product. Get as geek out, like get as nitty gritty as possible,
Yeah.
like from start to finish. For anyone listening that wants to know like how to make a good cup of coffee, you don't have to give away your secrets, but like
No, I don't
products
mind.
that
Yeah.
you use or
There's
just
no
stuff you've learned
gatekeeping.
along the way.
So I mean, this is where it's like I always say too, like there's so many different ways to make a good cup of coffee, and so there's so many ways people enjoy it too. Like there's like pour over, there's French press, there's espresso, obviously, there's milk based drinks, and there's so many different ways to make it. But I mean, for me, like I like a good light roast because I feel like it does bring out more flavors in a coffee, like compared to a dark roast, where dark roast is kind of more burnt.
Okay.
Right, because basically the bean goes through phases of like cracks, right? So
Okay.
it goes through a first crack, and then it goes right after that. It goes into a Maillard phase where it's sucking in all the sugars. So that's where it's like it's taking in most of the flavor. A lot of people will go past that and go to a dark roast, which is what you get like a Starbucks,
Okay.
and it's really more bitter tasting.
Okay.
So
And
I
are
like
you
the more
roasting
light
it with
roast.
other flavors? Like, are you just roasting the bean itself, or is there anything that goes like into it?
It's just the bean itself.
It's just the bean.
Yeah.
Okay.
So some people do blends where they'll take like
Okay.
they'll think, oh, okay, a good Guatemalan bean with a good Ethiopian bean, and they'll blend it together and then they
Okay.
mix it together and then they serve that in a bag. Right.
Gotcha.
Mine's all single origin, so
Okay.
it's just very about the specialty bean.
Okay.
And there's so many different things out there now where they ferment it in like mangoes or peaches, or they're like doing all these different things now, which I think is really cool, and they're really good beans. Like I actually bought one from another company because it tasted like cherries, like it literally.
Oh yeah,
Really?
it's, you
Whoa.
drink it and it's just like, oh, that's not. It's like
It didn't even
coffee,
really taste like coffee.
Yeah.
but then you get a smack of fruit in it, and it's just
Really
like the
interesting.
weirdest feel.
they always
It's
have
so
like
crazy.
the like notes on
Yeah.
the bag. I always notice that it'll be like some will be like more fruity,
Yeah.
some will
Yeah.
be like caramel or like more nutty kind of thing.
And
So I
that's a
guess
lot where like that's all based on someone's taste buds.
Yeah.
That's not even like really like scientific proven to be like, oh, it's going to taste
Yeah.
like this.
So
It's
even like
really
if
your taste
JT
buds.
did it versus like Zach,
Yeah.
he might be like, it tastes like coffee.
Yeah.
Where Zach would be like, all right, it tastes like caramel, vanilla, and it just depends.
Right.
on
So
who
like
you
you're
are.
basing it off of your palate, and like I know a lot of people even go and like train their palate to like taste coffee better,
Yeah.
or like be able to figure out the notes of coffee. So there's a lot that goes into it, and there's so many videos on YouTube about that stuff. But it's real. That's kind of like more nerdy coffee stuff. But I like a more light roast, and then I do like an espresso, like making espresso. There's a lot that goes into that of like your brew ratio,
Okay.
which is how much coffee to water.
Okay.
Right, so that's basically you're extracting coffee with water.
Okay.
Right? So it's like, okay, and then what grind size will you use to make it how fast you want it or how slow you want it to come out. So like the rule of thumb is like if you want like a good double shot of espresso, you'll do 18 grams of coffee, grind it up, and then you'll get 36 grams of liquid out of it
Interesting.
in
Okay.
a window of 30 seconds. So there's a timing. So that's like
Okay.
you're brewing in
Yeah.
30 seconds, 18 grams of grinded coffee to 36 grams of liquid. So it's a 1-to-2
Wow.
ratio.
Yeah,
And
and you
the
can
gr-
know
Okay.
how if your grind isn't the right size, if they're too big or small, depending on the timing.
Right.
Because if the timing's wrong, the coffee is also going to taste different.
Yeah.
And
So-
that you do that all like just experimenting with
Pretty
like
much.
different. Okay.
Yeah,
And
so
then-
it's called like dialing in like espresso, right? If
Okay.
you're dialing in your brew for like that certain bean, because all beans will be different too, because
Okay.
the density and how much water is in it. Because when you get them green, they actually have a like water inside of them. And that's
Okay.
what they're doing when you're roasting them. You're bringing them up to like almost 400 degrees, 500 degrees, and you're taking the water out of it.
Ah, okay.
So it's very interesting. There's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah.
And it's like you don't even realize it until you actually really start diving into it, like how much it like is in coffee. And there's so many different avenues you can go down, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Even like so right now we have a Ethiopian and a Guatemalan, and even the region that you get it from is going to have a different taste. And even like within that region, whatever farm you get it from, it can be a different taste as well. Like the notes can be completely different, even if it's from the same area.
Yeah.
So even finding your farms that you want to get it from and what region you're getting it from is going to be a huge difference in how the coffee tastes too.
What are like the factors that cause like changes in the notes?
So a lot of it is how the farmer grows it,
Okay.
and where it's grown. A lot of times you'll see on a bag like elevation 1,500 feet,
Okay.
or 2,000 feet, because they're grown that high up. Because the reason why is because those places are super hot during the day, but then cool at night.
Okay.
In that, like when you go up the mountain. So when it's grown up there, what it does is it like cooks them through the day, helps them grow, and then at night it's even better for them. It brings out like more sweetness in the bean.
Oh, okay.
So different like ways it's grown, and that elevation plays a big factor into it. The region, all those different things that go into it.
Very cool.
So then I guess also take me through the process of making the cup of coffee, because I'm always curious. I feel like there's some people that don't use like a lot of, I guess, utensils, and then there's like you can add in like you can kind of up your game a little bit. So I noticed like you measured the beans, and then I don't even know what came
Sprayed
after
them.
that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I saw
Yeah.
this like puff thing. Like I like talk about all those.
Yeah.
Like, what
so
are you doing there?
That's for like espresso puck prep is what
Okay.
they call it.
Okay.
There's so many different, like, I think a lot of it is just, it's fun,
Go through what you do though, like
right?
your whole thing.
I mean, the biggest thing is like, you need to have a good grinder.
Okay.
Because the grinder will make it so you can get it finer
Okay.
or coarser, and then that way you could dial it in.
Okay.
Like that grinder alone is the Niche Duo. I think that's around like $800 or so.
Oh, it's like an add-on piece to it. Is that how?
It's
You're
just the grinder
grinding.
itself.
Yeah.
So
Oh, I see.
basically, yeah,
Okay, I gotcha.
So it's like 30. How many different settings does it have?
a lot.
Grinds?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, more than
50, 50
Yeah, it
something
has a
settings.
lot.
But
Wow.
so like if you wanted to do a pour over, I can make it a lot coarser. So
Okay.
pour over makes it so you grind it not as fine, right? Because the water's going through the puck, which fine grinds, it makes it so you actually have to put pressure so the water goes through it, which should make it that, like, give it that crema.
Okay.
That's what's like an espresso. A pour over is more, it's coarse. It's almost like if you look at it like rocks going, and you pour water through like a glass of rocks.
Okay.
Like the smaller they are, it's harder to get through.
Yeah.
Right. The bigger they are, it flows faster.
Okay.
So that's kind of like the same thing with coffee. But for me, I mean, I just enjoy like doing the puck prep and espresso and a milk based drink. So like I'll weigh it out, put it in the grinder, distribute it into the portafilter, which, then there's so many different things. There's I'm sure I'm blanking out on the name of it, but
What?
the spike tool you see me say use.
Oh, is that like it like sifts
Yeah.
through?
I can't
or
think
like
of the name.
yeah,
of it
the
right
distributor.
okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's so many like a WDT tool, and,
It's so
RDS, and all these different like things for it. And I'm not like a coffee nerd like with like that. I like more the roasting side of things. But yeah, I mean it's just fun. So it's like you have the distributor. I always do like 18 grams. I like a double shot. So there's like
Okay.
so many different ways you can do it.
Are you
But
like
then
the
there's a
person
tamper
that's
as well.
like, oh, I only drink it black. Like I don't do any milk.
No,
So, like I
no.
feel like there's those snobs that's
Yeah.
like, oh, I only drink black coffee.
No, I love a cortado because
Okay.
it's like, because then there's like different drinks. There's so many different people that are like, oh, I want, they go to like Starbucks and they get a macchiato, right? And it's like literally a large cup with like half milk, ice,
Yeah.
and coffee. I'm like, that's not a
it.
macchiato.
No.
Like technically, a macchiato is just a double shot of espresso with a little like dab of milk. Because in Italy, macchiato means like to ruin something or like to. I hope I'm getting that right.
Yeah.
But so basically, that's what the milk is doing. It's
Yeah.
ruining the espresso, but it's also giving it a little bit of sweetness. So
Okay.
it's like that's like technically, yeah.
Yeah, and even what you're drinking, the flat white, like all of them have. So even Howie said his favorite's a cortado. Most people don't know what that means.
Right.
I've seen it on menus. I
Yeah.
definitely have
Yeah.
never
Yeah.
ordered it though.
So a lot of it's based on like the size of the cup.
Okay.
Right. So like a latte is bigger. It's a 12-ounce drink. Like a cortado is like usually a 4-ounce drink, depending on where you go. So it's like a smaller cup with a double shot of espresso to like 2 ounces of milk. So it's like a 1-to-1 ratio.
Okay.
Then you have like a flat white, which is a little bit more milk, which is what you're drinking, like the size of the cup. And then you have a cappuccino, which is the same size, but just for more froth milk.
Okay.
And then you have a latte, which is a lot more milk.
Yeah. So when you see at places, it's like, oh, would you like a large or small, like cortado? That's not really a thing.
Yeah.
Because it should always be.
I'm like, the
pretty much
cortado
same
is
ratio.
defining what I'm getting.
Yeah.
technically.
Yeah.
There's no large or small cortado. I don't know. But
Interesting.
Yeah.
yeah.
There's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah. And the more he did it, the more I was like, I know nothing about coffee.
When I first started and I was like going into like making all these drinks, I'm like, why is there so many different like why is there so many different shops calling this a cortado? When you look at the video or like or do some research on it, it's a small drink.
That's how he always
Like that,
judges
it's
a
that
place
size
now.
cup, the glass one right there.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So it's like it's a smaller drink.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
So every place we go, like, because even on our travels now, it's still like the thing that we do, but now it's worse because I always say I'm so spoiled because I love his coffee. Like, the only place I've gotten a better cup is at the place in Scotland. And like I said, I didn't like coffee before. I didn't drink coffee until he started making it. So now I'm just such a snob. I'm like, ew, that wasn't even right. Like, I can't do it. I can't do it at all. But like now I'm just spoiled because he cares so much about it. And then you really learn like, okay, this is how this coffee should taste, and the milk ratio, even like, okay, you can burn milk. So a lot of places, like if you're frothing it too long, because he's taught me, you know, when you froth at the right temperature and you stop at the right time, it's going to bring out the sweetness of the milk. But if you go past that, it burns the milk. So you can have like a cup and they can do a great design and it'll look okay. And then you drink it and it's like, oh, like, why does it taste burnt? Because even that, something as simple as like overboard on the milk will ruin the flavor.
Right.
Yeah.
So you kind of like learn all these things and we're like, oh, is this a good place? Like, do they know how to do it?
So true.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about like the events that you guys do and kind of like what kind of things people are looking for you guys to?
Yeah, I mean, we do all sorts of events now.
Okay.
So we're booking like weddings, any type of event like that.
Yeah.
But right now we're also at like the Seaside Market, which is down by us. We're going to be there every Friday.
Yep.
Okay.
And then on the weekends, like Saturday and Sunday, we usually do like we have
Pop-ups.
Popcorn Park Zoo that we're going to be at, which is really cool. What was that? called?
Lions, Tigers, and Beer. So
Oh,
it's like
yeah.
an adult only event, and we're kind of like the DD drink.
Yes.
So you go and you're at the zoo, and they're actually like a refuge. They're not just a regular zoo, so they'll take in any animals who've had a really bad life, or like I know in New Jersey, do you guys remember the tiger lady?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like some of her tigers they
Yeah.
took in since you're not supposed to
Yeah.
have them. So it's not just like a zoo, it's like a home for animals
Okay.
who didn't really have
Okay.
a great life, and they do take care of them. So
That's
like
great.
you're in the zoo, we're all hanging out, like it's all local businesses and breweries and all that, and then we're just there as a pop-up coffee stand too, and like giving the coffee out to people, but you get to like be with the animals. So it's like a really cool, just
Yeah.
fun event. And then we have Bayville Fest, which is like a reggae fest down here that we're doing in June too. So we have like a lot
Oh,
of really
cool.
cool, just
Yeah.
fun stuff coming up. I like talking. You guys know I like talking. So like I handle our marketing and event planning and things like that, and get that stuff going.
Yeah, she's
so.
very good at that.
It's just fun.
I love the idea of having a coffee cart at a wedding.
Yeah.
I think we talked about this last time. I've
Yeah.
been seeing it so much, and I think it's such a fun idea. Like, it's so unique. I think it's cool. So I feel like you guys definitely will be
Yeah.
booked up with weddings.
Sure.
Yeah.
I wish you guys were around for my brother's wedding. He got married. I guess it was 2 years ago. Yeah,
June ago.
in the summer. But he is for sure a coffee snob. He
Oh, that's
like
cool.
wasn't a coffee drinker. He ended up getting a job at Starbucks, and then now he's just like so hooked on. Like, I don't really know a lot about it, but he always tells me
Yeah.
he's trying to make his perfect cup, and he has a notebook and he writes down each day what he did so he could like
That's
track.
awesome.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so I gotta send
Yeah.
this to him because he's
Yeah.
totally like a coffee dork in that way.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
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 You can
Give
be
him
our
my
flavor
number.
tester.
I'll have to send him some beans.
No, for sure. And it's like, it's so fun, especially like if you have a wedding or anything, like you're like, oh, what do you want like your custom flavor to be? Because like we said, we enjoy, like, we really have so much fun testing flavors. Like we did a banana bread coffee and I hand did everything. So we didn't like buy a banana syrup. Like I made it. So we did like Oh my gosh, I can't even think right now. We like pretty much made a sauce, and
Wow.
what do we do?
We
I did sugar, water.
Smash up some
Yeah,
bananas.
but what's that called? I can't think of what it's called
Like a
in
compote
baking.
or
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So and then we cooked
You're
down the
asking the wrong
bananas.
person.
I know. I did this. You're like, what? So then I smashed the bananas. We simmered it all down. We strained it, and then we put in fresh bananas after we blended it all together, and then I strained it again, so there was no chunks. So it was just like a pure banana with just like
Now
a
you're
slight.
giving away our secrets.
Well, I didn't say how to make it. See, this is why I can't go on things.
It's like a bananas
exact
foster type.
ingredients will
Yeah.
We
be
literally
in the
called it
bio.
banana bread latte.
Yeah.
It was like, it tasted
Yeah.
like
That's
you're eating
insane.
banana
I
bread.
didn't give the
It was
ratios.
really
It
cool.
wasn't- But it's
That's
just fun.
crazy.
It's so much
Yeah.
fun. So like we'll do like custom stuff like that, and if we can figure out a way to make something like even our vanilla bean, everything's just like pure and fresh. So
Yeah.
it's just fun figuring out like all
Yeah,
those custom
for
like
sure.
creations, but still having that hardcore focus on the coffee and just like enhancing the coffee flavor with that added in.
Totally. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's fun.
I guess, like, do you have any specific struggles that you faced when you were starting this that you didn't really anticipate?
Oh yeah. I mean, we kind of like shifted our focus a little bit from roasting, because
Yeah.
roasting, you kind of need a community behind you before you start it, because it's like, okay, well, who's going to buy your beans? Like, there's so many different options out there.
Yeah.
So I kind of like shifted the focus to, okay, well, let's build a community first. And how can we do that? By let's serve our coffee.
Yeah.
Let's do events. So that's kind of the goal of it, is like, that's why we built the cart. Me and my dad built the cart. And then trying to figure out how to transport that.
Oh my god.
A huge
Our
struggle.
first event was, and it was up in Warren. It was like
Yeah,
close to you guys.
it was like
yeah.
an hour away, and the week of, like, it kind of like got
Everything went
sprung
wrong.
upon us, like this event. So we were like, I was like, yeah, let's just try to make it work.
Yeah.
And trying to get a trailer, trying to get, turns out our truck did not have a hitch.
Tow hitch, yeah.
Oh.
So we had to
And
put that on.
so we had to install that. We had to get all that
Get
stuff
out.
Yeah. Apparently you have to
then-
add
Oh
it
my
onto
God.
trucks now. Like it's
Oh.
not part of the base
Yeah.
package
Isn't that the whole
anymore.
point of a truck?
That's
what I said.
Yeah.
I'm like, why
That's
does
like one of the main
Yeah.
benefits of having a truck is
Yeah.
to have a little hitch on there.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was like, that was pretty chaotic. I was a little stressed about that.
you
And
rented
then
a
trying to
trailer.
get it to ramp up into the trailer, because the cart is heavy.
It's all wood.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
real
it's
wood.
literally all real wood. So that's been a headache, but now that that's kind of solved, we
Yeah.
have it down pretty pat, I guess I would say, and it works pretty good. But
Yeah.
that was pretty stressful.
That was rough. Yeah. After that week, because we like rented a U-Haul because they were pretty cheap to just rent for the 2 days because it was a 2-day event, and we're on the Parkway, and it's just like every bump we hit, the trailer would just like smash into
Oh,
the
shit.
ground, and
Yeah.
we're just like, oh my god, it's gonna open. We're like, it's just gonna fly off the truck. Like he was like, I
Oh,
can't do
yeah.
this. I can't do this.
And then trying to figure out where to store the cart.
Yeah.
Like, I had it in
Right.
my dad's shop, but he was like, you're
Get it
taking
out.
up too much space. You got to get this thing out of here.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, what do I do? You know, trying to figure that out. So then I ended up just getting a trailer, and I'm storing it in there. So it's, but yeah, that was all chaotic and happened in like 2 weeks.
Oh my
God.
God.
I like schedule it so fast.
Yeah. But it ended up being good. You know,
Yeah, it's a great
it worked
event.
out pretty well. And I think everyone enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But now it's like, you know, there's still so much like I don't know about.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm not a true businessman, you know, like figuring out taxes and all that stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
And
all
it's-
that type of
It's
stuff.
just
is-
different from dog training. So
Yeah.
I have to like change my brain
Totally.
to coffee. Like coffee
Yeah.
and dogs
Yeah.
are two very different things. So even just helping him with any of the event planning and market, it's just a very different way. Like, you know, dogs are living creatures, so it's hard to even like film with them or
Yeah.
do whatever. And I'm like, oh, we can film this, and it's just fun and it's like easy. And then he's like, oh, I have to film today. It's like same for
Yeah.
him. It's kind of changing his mindset too from IT to coffee.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we definitely can relate to that because
Yeah.
we both have businesses like separately, and then we do this together. So
Yeah.
it's like a lot of shifting gears,
Yeah.
like trying to figure out and planning and stuff. I am curious. So like, how do you guys like manage working together? Because it is very rare
Yeah.
that like couples are like will like have the same job like
Yeah.
together. And I know you guys like kind of do it separately, but like it seems like you help a lot. So like talk about like that, like how is it like getting used to that and navigating like
I mean, we've been married for 8 years now. Like, we're going at 8, and we're very different. Like, we're two very different people. So at first, like I said, like the dog training together just didn't work. Like, it's something that you really have to love, and I love dogs, and I love talking to people, and I love dog training, and that just wasn't his passion. So it would just, that did not really work. Where this, it's like we are very separate in what we're doing. So his, you know, he's very, knows about coffee, knows, I can't even like, his brain has so much knowledge on coffee. It's like, I can't even comprehend it. But then I think I'm personally like pretty good at the planning and the talking to people and just getting the marketing going and getting the networking going. Cause I do already have somewhat of like a name in our community because I do talk to a lot of other businesses and community like, and just anyone here. I like talking. Like, I'll just go to a coffee shop and talk to somebody. Like, I'm that person if I'm in the mood. So I think like, especially when it comes to running the cart, he is so happy making the coffee, doing all his flavors, seeing the reactions that people get. And then normally I'm the one like, okay, taking payment, seeing what people want. So it's like, I think because it is very separate in what we have to do, it works out a lot better.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that's a big part of it is like the roles we play in it. And I mean, also just communication.
Yes.
I think when I did hop on for dog training a little bit, I don't think we were in a spot for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree.
Relationship wise, you know? So it's like making sure you are in a spot of being able to communicate clearly both your goals and what you're trying to do, because I think that's a big aspect of business, right? Because if you have someone that's kind of on board and they have different goals and they want to do a different thing, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, really sitting down and communicating like, okay, this is where we're trying to go and what we're trying to do and what we're trying to serve to people, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that's a big part of it too, is the communication. I think we worked really well.
That was a lot.
Yeah.
Like, we worked really hard at that.
Yeah.
Because it's just, you know, people are different no matter who you're with, no matter what you're doing. It's like everyone thinks differently. Most people communicate differently.
Yeah.
And I think that was like such a big thing. And even, I don't really think we have a lot of separation between our like work and our life, because we both like, if something comes to our mind, we kind of have to do it. So like the other day, we like this YouTuber, Ryan Trahan, and like, we were just like, oh, he's like making candy and he's doing all this stuff. So we're like, oh, how can we like incorporate like what other people are doing and just like, you know, doing these. I forgot because we didn't talk about that yet or release it yet, so I don't want to say anything. But, like, wait a minute, never mind.
Yeah, that's gonna be coming up soon.
Yeah, that's coming up. But it's like, it's a thing we'll be doing. But even just like if an idea comes in our head, just like the banana bread coffee, so that's already out. That doesn't matter. But so it's the banana bread coffee, and he was like, oh, what if we do this? So we either have to write it down or we have to do it right away. Like,
Yeah.
but then once we're done, we're done. But it's like if an idea comes to our head, we're like, okay, let's just get it done. We know we want to do it, and then after that, it's kind of shut off. There's the separation.
Yeah, you got to be able to separate work and life.
Yeah. But if
feel
it
like
comes to
which
our
is
head, we have to get it done.
sometimes hard when you own businesses because
Right.
they like
Yeah.
really seep into like every aspect of your life, because there's no like, oh, I'm clocking in, clocking out.
No.
It's like you're working on stuff all the time, so it's
Yeah.
very easy for it to just like, you know, you're trying to relax, sit on the couch, but then you wind up, you know, talking about your businesses, and it's like, you know, there's still a relationship there that like needs to be fostered.
Exactly.
So
I know, because sometimes, because it is still my hobby, right? Like, I
Yeah.
still like it.
Yeah.
So, like,
That's me
I'll
with
be
dogs,
sitting here
too.
watching videos on my phone of just, like, coffee stuff. And
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, maybe I should do that.
Yeah, I think it's easier when you both have businesses and you both kind of understand, because it would be the same thing. Like when he didn't have the coffee, he'd be like, all right, you're talking about dogs too much. I'm like, oh, okay, you're right. Even before that, I was just talking about my dog all the time. And he's like, not everyone wants to hear about Kala all the time. I'm like, I guess.
that's too funny.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you remember last time we did some rapid fire questions with you, so we're gonna do them again for
Cool.
you. Do you want to pull them up?
Yeah, I do have one more question
Yeah,
before.
sure.
I guess like, what's your kind of next goal with the business, as far as, you know, now you have the cart? Like, are you looking to kind of keep it that way? Are you looking to like maybe grow out into a shop, or even like have a truck at some point? Like, what are your kind of long-term
all of the
goals?
above, honestly.
Yeah.
I enjoy it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I love making coffee for people and like trying it and getting feedback. It's like, That's probably my favorite thing about it.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, at the end of the day, we are trying to make a living from it. You know what I mean? So it is, the goal of, okay, growing it, maybe having the cart at a permanent location. I think that's like, maybe like a cool, cozy spot where I can just put the cart during the week, and then I do events on the weekend or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of the goal right now, is finding a spot where I can do that.
Okay.
And then, eventually having multiple carts, maybe like a fleet of carts, and we are all serving really good coffee at these events. And but I mean, my dream has always been to have a small little roastery with a small little cafe front. So that's the goal, the end goal of it. So
Okay, cool.
And that's also nice that you roast your own beans, because I know a lot of coffee shops will like carry local
Right.
like beans and stuff. So that's awesome that you'll be able to like, I don't know if that would ever interest you, but like if someone would be interested in like
We
serving.
do have that, actually.
Yeah, so
that's
we're
something
actually
I did in the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, we're actually selling our bags at Lava Java in Lavalette.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
our
cool.
bags are-
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Very
so
nice.
That's awesome.
We're doing stuff like that right now.
Okay.
Like when I was kind of switching gears a little bit to doing the cart, I was thinking, I was like, well, yeah, I can go and try and get wholesale accounts, right? Where I can just like my beans will be their coffee at like a cafe. But as I was talking to my dad about it, he's been a businessman for his whole life, really.
Yeah.
He grew a
Since, like,
business
20.
for 30 plus years, a
Yeah.
roofing and siding company.
Okay.
He sold it when he was like 40. So, he's very smart in that aspect. So we were talking about it, and he was like, well, it doesn't really get your name out there, because when you go into a cafe, do you know what beans they're serving?
No, that's true.
So I was like, yeah, it's true. It's like you kind of have to get your name out there first. So
Okay.
that's why we kind of switched to, okay, let's just do events, do carts. And it's fun. Now that I'm doing it, I'm like, wow, this is actually really enjoyable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe like down the road, that is still part of the plan, to have kind of keep it separate
Yeah.
of
Okay.
like the roastery and then also the cafe
Yeah.
/ carts, right? Because it is kind of its own separate thing in a way.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is great. And like, I lost my train of thought. I had a question and it's gone now. Yeah. What was I going to say? Yeah. It'll come to me.
Yeah, it'll come back.
Yeah.
Random. That's what he's used to me doing that. So it's okay.
Yeah, so we can do the rapid fire questions. Like
Cool.
we said, we didn't send these to you. They're just meant to be fun. And
Yeah.
whatever comes to mind. Do you want to read them?
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead.
And if you guys each want to like give a little answer, that's
Okay.
cool.
Okay,
Yeah.
you go
Cool.
first.
All right.
She's trained already. What's your go-to coffee order?
Cortado.
I get dirty chai.
Ooh,
Nice.
nice.
What's your favorite place to do an event?
Oh man.
Or maybe like event type.
I mean, I love like the greenhouse stuff. Like it's cool
Yeah.
just to be around the plants. Honestly,
Yeah, we
like,
love Tiny Greenhouse. Shout out to
Yeah,
Gabby. She
Tiny
was like our
Greenhouse
first
is
supporter,
awesome.
but
Nice.
She was like our first event, like our first official one.
Yeah.
And like, it's a cool place to hang out and
yeah, she's amazing.
get some cool plants.
Yeah.
That sounds
Pretty
super
much every
sick.
plant in here besides that one up there is from her.
Yeah.
Oh,
Everything
nice.
else is
Okay.
from her or my friends, and that's it.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Where is she located?
She's right in Brick. She's
Okay.
she's closer to you. She's about 15 minutes away from here, but she started right before COVID. She has a really cool story.
Nice.
And then I ended up meeting her because she's one of the few dog friendly places around here. So she was like, you can bring your dog as long as they're good. And I'm like, oh, okay, don't worry. I got you. And then she's just been awesome ever since. And then we were talking about the coffee one day and she was just like, oh, come sit up here. I don't care. And we're like, oh, are you sure? And she always does like vendor events. And she's really fun.
Yeah.
She's awesome. She's just down to earth, knows her plants. Like, I've never seen somebody know plants that well.
Very cool. I'll have to check her out.
That's
Yeah.
super cool. What's your most popular drink?
The honey chocolate latte.
Yeah.
I would not think that honey would go well with coffee, but I feel like
Yeah.
I've seen that recently. People putting honey in their coffee.
It is very good.
Yeah, it sells, like, if it could sell out, because that's not one that we have to like hand make anything. That's the majority of our sales at Pop Up Carts is always the honey chocolate.
Wow,
Yeah.
good to know.
What's your favorite movie?
Casino Royale.
Oh, it's a good one.
Yeah. I love Daniel Craig.
Mine
It just
is
has
Zoolander.
everything you want. You know? It's got everything.
He loves that movie. I like Zoolander.
Yeah.
That's a good one too.
Yeah.
How old were you when you had your first cup of coffee?
Oh man. Probably when I was like 8 or 9. Oh. Yeah, I was pretty young.
I have no idea. Actually, no. My friend's grandma was very Italian, and anytime we were over, she would do biscotti and coffee. So I was probably like a baby. I didn't know. She would just give it to you, and they wouldn't care.
Give us something that's on your bucket list right now.
Man, that's a good question. I mean, to open up a coffee shop, that's definitely a bucket list thing. But besides that, I mean, we love Bend, Oregon, so we're trying to make, being out there for the winter happen.
Sweet, okay.
So we'll see.
Oh yeah, you said that you wanted to.
We'll see. It's kind of on the bucket list, but I don't know. We just like to travel a lot.
We
so
love
it's
traveling.
like,
Yeah.
I don't really have like a bucket list.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like per se. I just like to travel and have fun and, visit cafes.
Yeah.
Do you guys like ski and snowboard out there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
I love
Yeah.
I do both, but
Yeah, he does
Nice.
both. I snowboard.
Okay.
So we would love to go there for the
grew up
winter.
doing that. So
Yeah.
we went to
Nice.
Mount Bachelor, and that was like in
it's
Oregon,
amazing.
and it was
Whoa.
amazing mountain.
It's so fun. Yeah.
Super fun.
Yeah, so even in, this winter, we want to try and maybe get the cart out there and live there for 3 months and stay there for
Whoa.
winter. And they have a huge coffee scene, so
Nice.
it might be a little hard trying to get the word out. But even doing pop-ups out there, and as we grow our name here, and kind of just popping over for a little bit and seeing what happens.
So we'll see how it works out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super cool.
Oh, I love it.
Are you an early bird or a night owl?
Neither.
Yeah. Dang
Someone
people.
little.
I am not a morning person.
More of a
that's for
night
sure.
owl, I would
Yeah.
say. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like waking up.
Yeah, we're not fans. I could sleep.
But once I'm up, I
Yeah.
feel like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But definitely, I could stay up pretty late.
Yeah, I'm more of a night owl too. But I think so. Not a morning person.
What advice would you give to your 18-year-old self?
Oh.
Take risks and just do it. Especially when it comes to business. I wish I did this when I was 18.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wish I started when I was 18.
I agree. And it's anything, you can do anything you set your mind to. He always, even with the dog training, he would say that to me. And I'm like, but can I? I would kind of question. He's like, you're insane. Anytime you want to do something and you do it, you go crazy. So just for anyone, if you set your mind to something and you're really determined, you can figure it out no matter what your circumstance is, I think.
That's great.
Yeah.
What's your favorite way to spend free time? If you have any.
I have a few.
Do you want to go first?
Yeah. I mean, I love training my dog, personally, my personal dog, but I also he says I'm athletic-ish, but I'm very clumsy, but I love to surf and snowboard. It just clears my mind, or I like to read. So that's my
Nice.
big things that I'll do.
Very
I
cool.
mean, I like coffee. But no, I mean, I like playing sports.
Yeah.
I've been really big into tennis and
Cool.
basketball.
Yeah.
I mean, I played basketball my whole life, but tennis recently, the
my
past
God.
year and a half, I play at least twice a week now.
Really?
Yeah.
He's got his own a special racket.
I went out and got a nice racket.
Are you
Obviously,
into
it's super
pickleball
fun.
or no?
No.
No.
I haven't
haven't
tried
played
pickleball
it.
yet.
It's
No.
fun.
I know it's this new thing where everyone's
Yeah.
obsessed with it.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I went back. I went to tennis.
Yeah, he did.
The original pickleball.
Yeah. Do you like watching basketball too, or just playing?
I do, yeah. I mean, my grandpa grew up in San Francisco, so we're all California fans, 49ers, Warriors,
Nice.
Yeah.
Giants. So we're all my whole family. My dad's one of 8.
Yeah.
So we're all not all of them. I think there's 1 or 2 brothers that aren't, but
I think so, maybe. I have no idea.
so yeah. I mean, I watch the Warriors whenever I can. They're on the West Coast, so it's kind of hard. But,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Staying up till 1 a.m.
yeah, watching their games. Yeah, I've done that a couple times.
Yeah, he has.
Yeah, but yeah. So it's whenever I can, I try to.
Nice.
Yeah.
We just decided we're Knicks fans as of a week ago.
Oh really?
Yeah, sort of hardcore.
Our whole
It's
lives.
so much better. Yeah.
What's one thing about you that surprises people?
Oh man,
I have no idea.
that's a hard
He's
question.
a secret teddy bear. People
Yeah.
are always. He's very obviously we're on a podcast and stuff, so
Yeah.
he's more talkative right now. But he's very.
But yeah, I do have a hard exterior.
Yeah,
I feel like.
Yeah, some of my friends.
But I do
or
deeply
anyone.
care a lot
Yeah,
about.
he's a giant teddy bear.
Yeah.
Because people will be like, oh, Zach's like kind of scary. And I'm like, he's fine.
It's just, you know, I'm 6'1", 230 pounds.
And then he'll just
Everyone's
stare
like,
at you.
he's so scary. I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
I guess that's a good quality.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. What surprises people about me? I'm pretty open.
Yeah. I
He's
don't
like,
know.
I don't know. You would know better than I would. I feel like that's like your biggest
That
thing.
you do have your feisty side when you want to.
Oh
I
yeah,
don't know.
I'm pretty. I'm lying. I mean, there's
Yeah.
only so much you can do. Like, I'm pretty spicy. Yeah.
Nice.
That's.
I remembered my question from earlier.
yeah.
Do you sell your beans online?
We do.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
So it's
Alright,
just
that's good to know.
tohubohu.coffee.
Okay.
We have a subscription there, so if you want to like sign up, it's like I think it's like $35 a month, but you
Yeah.
get 2 bags every
Okay.
month
Whoa.
delivered.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, and that's where it's like we change up the roast sometimes too, so you can get like a specialty roast, and
Yeah.
but then you could also book events through there. So
Yep.
if you want to reach out to us and you know do an event, you can.
Yeah.
That's all through the website.
Yeah, and take
Very
forms right there,
cool.
so we see what's going on, what kind of event, wedding, pop up, whatever it might be. That's like kind of the easiest way, unless you DM us a lot or something, and
Yeah.
it's not in the request. Stuff like gets.
Oh,
annoying.
I
yeah.
And
know.
it's so annoying.
It's
You're just
really
like,
annoying.
I'm so sorry. I did not see that for a week.
Yeah.
But yeah. So we'll get all of our requests, or intake form is on there, and we can see like if we're available, if we're not, all that good stuff.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. And well, when I finish my beans that I have now, I definitely will be ordering.
Thanks.
Cool. Yeah.
Yes. He makes my coffee every morning.
Yeah.
So we'll
I
need
gotta
a
go back to the
refill
drawing
soon.
board here. I just
failed that.
discovered the grind size. I was like walking by the machine, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, you could change the grind
Yeah,
size."
it's like there's like a dial
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
Breville one
Yeah.
that you can change.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So she moved in
In February.
3 months ago,
Okay.
and pretty shortly after, she taught me how to make coffee. I made a note sheet of like how like everything to do, and my brother came over. Like he was actually trying to help us a little bit with coffee, and he was like, "What is this?" I was like, "Oh, this is my cheat sheet. Like,
literally,
turn
like,
on the
pour-
button."
Pour milk, like literally like every single step.
That's so
yeah.
sweet though.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It
yeah.
is nice.
He like goes to our friends' houses, or like somebody we know buys beans, and like my one really good friend, he went over and he was like doing it for her and her husband. He's like, okay, this is like walking them through it to show them how to make.
Yeah, it's
her
really
favorite
confusing.
drink.
I mean, even though the Breville does make it like relatively like
lot of
user
work.
friendly, like it doesn't really give much guidelines on like the grind size,
Yeah.
the time, because you can adjust everything.
Exactly.
So like
Yeah.
it's kind of took a while. I realized I was like I didn't have enough water for like the amount, because
Yeah.
like you can literally switch any setting. So for a while I was like, this coffee is ass. Like I this like, am I doing something
Yeah.
wrong? Are the beans bad? Like
Yeah.
I didn't know, but now we have the settings like good.
Dialed in.
But yeah, even like the steaming the milk, they make it like pretty easy.
Yeah.
But
It's still a lot of
yeah,
work.
it
Yeah.
is. It really is. It's fun though. I think it's nice. I feel like I never really was into like the Keurig stuff. It just kind of icks me.
Yeah,
like
it's so
literally
icky.
just like eating plastic.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, but I understand the convenience of it. But yeah,
It is very
Rebel's
convenient.
cool.
Yeah, but
Yeah, it's
at
hard.
the same time, I want good coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like
Yeah.
I don't know. Why would I?
yeah. I
Yeah.
definitely not into that. but
JJ's
yeah.
gonna like come back in 2 years and be like this coffee master,
Yeah.
like a head roaster on his own, just from you making him do the coffee.
Yeah. But yeah, so do you guys want to like share like all your like Instagram, website? I know you kind of already
Yeah.
touched on some of it, but
You can shoot.
It's all you. Yeah.
Oh, okay. He's like, this is your job.
Yeah.
So we're Tohubohu Coffee on Instagram. I've like kind of been slacking off on TikTok in case it shuts down. I'm like, I don't want to put so much effort into it and then it's not there. But on TikTok, we're Tohubohu Coffee Roasters. And then our website is tohubohu.coffee. And then that's pretty much where you can find everything.
as well.
Yeah, and YouTube. Yep, we're on YouTube. We're on everything. So.
Yeah. On everything.
Nice.
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
And then they can
Right.
go to your website or Instagram to book events and
Yep.
stuff.
Either or is totally fine. Like,
Yeah, there is. I mean, a fee if you go to the website. There's like
Okay.
$100 fee just to book us.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
It's just like a deposit.
Yeah.
But if you want to shoot us a DM too, we could talk about pricing and all that stuff. But
Awesome.
Yeah.
Great.
easy. We go within like an hour and 20
Okay.
of the
Okay.
Jersey
Yeah.
Shore. So we have like also an event coming up in PA, coming up in July, I believe. So kind of go.
Cool.
Yeah, that probably covers a lot of the state.
Yeah,
Yeah.
honestly.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely will keep you guys in mind.
Cool.
lot of other like businesses always ask me
Yeah.
like, oh, do you have any vendors that you ever work with? So keep you guys in mind.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, thank you guys for having us.
No, thanks
I'm
for having
so
us. Yeah.
very excited to hear the
Appreciate it.
story.
Of course.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
If you ever need help with your coffee machine, let me know.
I'll set him
Definitely
up.
we'll be messaging you if we have any issues. All right. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.